This is the second video in what's becoming a series of sorts, I guess, of high-performance SD cards for that secondary card slot in the Nikon Z8 camera. And in this video, I'll take a look at Angelbird's AV Pro SD Mark II V90 SDXC UHS-II card. Hi, Ray here. As we saw with the last SD card I reviewed for use with that second UHS-II slot in the Z8, and I'll link that video at the end of this one. These SDXC Secure Digital Extra Capacity UHS-II cards support maximum read speeds of 300 megabytes a second and maximum write speeds of 260 megabytes a second. And Angelbird lists the full performance specs for this card at maximum read speed of 300 megabytes a second, maximum write speed 280 megabytes a second, sustained read speed 280 megabytes a second, sustained write speed 260 megabytes a second, UHS speed class 3, U3, C10, and video speed class of V90, which usually indicates minimum write speeds of 90 megabytes a second. Here, Angelbird claims full frame 4K plus resolution video with a minimum write speed of 260 megabytes a second. And we'll see what that means in the real world later in this video. But let's have a quick look at how this 512 gigabyte card performs in a Blackmagic stress test. First, using the inbuilt Mac Studio reader, stressing it at 5 gigs. And I'm going to speed this up a bit. We see our write speed. What do we get here? 208.7 megabytes a second. Our read speed now, again I'm speeding this up, 239.2 megabytes a second. Now with the same 5 gigabyte stress, we're going to test the Angelbird reader. And our write speed, I'm going to speed it up again here, we get 226.9 megabytes a second. Now our read speed, again I'll speed it up here, and we get a read speed of 239.4 megabytes a second. But we don't generally use our cards in the house, testing them on our computer. So here we are again, and I'll perform similar tests on this card as I did on the last one for both photos and video. First, shooting raw, lossless compressed to the primary slot loaded with an Angelbird 330 gigabyte AV Pro CF Express B SX card with a sustained write speed of 1480 megabytes a second. So to give you an idea based on original tests, this card usually records 70 frames of raw lossless compressed at 20 frames per second burst rate before it falters. Here I'll use the second slot loaded with the Angelbird SD as backup. So we set the image quality to raw, secondary slot function to backup, and 20 frames a second. So let's do our first test. And you'll note that I'm shooting indoors and I've got a little setup out there that we're using for our test subject, but I'll reveal later why we're doing it this way. Let's get on to this test. So first, we're shooting lossless raw to the primary card slot, which is filled with that CF Express card. And then the same thing, we're backing up to the secondary card slot with the SD card. So let's see what kind of performance we get. Okay, choked up there, and we got 28 frames. So of course a lot less than we would get. The bottleneck is obviously there in the secondary card slot with the SD card. For the second test, to that first card slot, again, lossless raw, but to the backup, to the SD card, we've targeted that now for JPEG Fine Star. Let's see what we get with this test. Okay, it's choking there. And we've gotten 33 exposures. Not much difference there. This next test would be more along the lines of my approach if I were to use the secondary card slot for backup rather than overflow, because that's what I usually do. But I generally don't use lossless RAW. Instead, I use Nikon's own NEF high efficiency star RAW. So that's what I have the first card slot, the CF Express, set to now, and we're backing up with JPEG Fine Star. Let's see what we get. It's just starting to choke now. And we got 39 exposures. So we're seeing similar results to the last card, the Kingston SD card that I tested with the Z8. And I'll put comparisons up. But what if we used a smaller file size, something like HEIF for the secondary backup? So in order to change to HEIF, we go into the I menu, and rather than using SDR, we switch that to HLG, and now what gets recorded to that second card slot is HEIF. So let's just go right ahead and see what we get here. Well, I think that was quite different. So with that combination, we got 70. As for video, I'll test 8K 10-bit SDR to the secondary card slot in the Z8, loaded with this Angelbird AV Pro SD Mark II V90 SDXC UHS-II card. As noted in the last SD test, it's not possible to target the secondary slot for 12-bit RAW recording. If you do that, the recording time is blank. But here, with 10-bit, we're supposed to get 2 hours, 21 minutes, 43 seconds. So here we choose 10-bit SDR. Log would also work. Target the SD card, and we're ready to go. Testing that last card, note that I had the camera in direct sun, while the ambient temperature in the shade was around 27 degrees Celsius. Today, since sustained heat is not something we're used to dealing with here on the west coast of Canada, we don't have AC, so it's 27.5 degrees Celsius inside the house here. So I guess you'd say it's a fairly close test as far as ambient temperature, but I'm not taking this camera out, well, I'm not taking me outside. It's 38 Celsius in the shade out there. Okay, so let's get the first test rolling. Well, that was interesting. So here's my report on the test of the Angelbird SD card recording 10-bit video. So everything was going fine until, I'm just checking my notes here, 17 minutes until I got the hot card warning. And remember, we're recording in 27 degrees in this room here, 27 degrees Celsius that is. So that's exactly the same time that I got a hot card warning with the last card that I tested, the SD card from Kingston in the Z8. So then I got a hot camera warning at 36 minutes, also pretty much the same time as the Kingston card. Then I got a low battery warning. Now I'm not sure actually if this battery was 100% charged, but I got a low battery warning at 1 hour and 10 minutes. And then at 1 hour and 15, because I had the red low battery warning, I just switched it off and quickly switched in a new battery, and then I recorded again for another 1 hour and 6 minutes. And it recorded the whole time. So now, as I did the last time, I've switched to the primary card slot, and I've got that 330 gigabyte Angelbird CF Express card in there that I did a review of a year or so ago. And we're recording to that right now. And we're in at 50 minutes and 45 seconds. So we should get 1 hour and 31 minutes recording time on this Angelbird CF Express card. Again, as I said, 330 gigabytes. I got a hot card warning at 18 minutes. So that's very much in line with everything beforehand. That is the Kingston SD card and the Delkin Black card that I tested along with that. But now here's something interesting. The hot camera warning didn't come until 40 minutes, amber. Let's look what we've got right now. So we're still at amber and we're at 52 minutes. So I'm going to let this run through to the end. I'm sure that we'll be able to record for the whole limit of this card, or at least the recording time, which as I said is 1 hour and 31 minutes. So we'll let it keep running here. I've had this trained on the bird bath out back there that we put up recently. You may have noticed if you watched my last video, the assembly of the bird bath. And I don't think we've had any birds on it all day. And that is because except for the hummingbirds that have been coming to the hummingbird feeder, everything else is hiding. It's been so hot. It's just starting to cool off a little bit outside now, but inside here, we're still at 27 degrees. So again, this is pretty fair because that's what we were recording at, that's what we were testing at the last ones. One thing that I should note here, and you can probably tell that the sun has gone around to the front now. In fact, it's getting on for sunset, and it has cooled down the last half hour of that test with the CF Express card. So rather than being 27.5 degrees in here, it's now about 25.5 degrees. So it's cooled down by a couple of degrees, and that may have helped things a little bit. But still, I think it was a pretty good test, pretty fair test, all said and done. So what this says to me, it kind of backs up my experience so far with that Angelbird 330 gigabyte CF Express card, and that is that the performance is very good. But I will admit that I've never run it for its full time before. You know, usually my clips are no more than 30 minutes, maybe 45 at the outside. So it's been an interesting experience testing that out for its full record time. Along with this 512 gigabyte card, Angelbird also sent along their SD dual card reader for me to take a look at, which offers single or simultaneous file offloading from SDXC UHS-I and UHS-II memory cards using a USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 up to 10 gigabyte a second connectivity. Features a write protect switch and a recessed connection, which is secure and looks pretty good. However, I've learned from experience with Angelbird's CF Express reader that you must make sure the USB-C connection is fully inserted. But I like these readers, the sleek aluminum design, as well as adhesive rubber pads for operational stability and vibration control. And of course, it's bus powered, so there's no extra power cables to get in the way. Comes with a Velcro strap, so if I like, I can stack this with the CF Express reader. But back to the card. It's built to perform at temperatures ranging from -25 Celsius to 85 Celsius, that's -13, to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. For operation in extreme environments, deserts, high elevations, Arctic, and this room. And we can see from the video tests it did pretty well in the ambient heat. Now it may seem like a small thing, but Angelbird rightly boasts that there's no sticker to curl and jam in your camera. And we'll see how the printed info holds up over time, but really, good riddance to stickers. It comes in 64, 128, 256, and 512 gigabyte capacities, and I'll put links in the description. As for warranty, if you activate your product benefits within 30 days of purchase, you receive 3-year limited warranty, including individualized customer service, technical support, and free data recovery service on hard and software level, which is provided by the Angelbird tech team in Austria. Angelbird's data recovery service covers media that is encountered physical damage and or software issues such as data or file corruption, and it's provided free of charge within the 3-year warranty. And from what I've seen over the last 2 years, not that I've personally encountered any technical issues, but Angelbird stands behind their products. Do give this video the old thumbs up if you found it useful, and check out this related video. And if this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. We'd love to see you again. In the meantime, take care. Cheers. We'll see you later.